Produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
Steve, can you tell me the first time Sting and the Big Show, a.k.a. Giant, locked horns in the squared circle? How long ago, buddy? First time ever.
Well, this is Tuesday. Less than 24 hours ago, right?
No,
on Monday Night Raw.
No.
And Sting's first match on Monday Night Raw ever.
No. Sorry, bud. We're talking like 18 years ago.
No, that's not true. Triple H told me last night for the first time ever Sting was going to take on Big Show.
I think they made sure to say first time ever Raw. But we have seen this in 2015.
So it wasn't an original match.
No, it's first time ever Sting wrestling in the ring on a live Raw, and he faces a guy that he faced in WCW about 17, 18 years ago on Nitro. This is coming full circle.
Is he going to wrestle Diesel next week? Because that would be different.
And you know what was even funnier?
Or Razor Ramon. He's never wrestled those guys.
You know what was even funnier? The referee for last night's main event was Little Nate, who refereed in WCW.
It only would have been better if it was Nick Patrick.
Last night was Nitro. Basically, it was Nitro. And then they did a SmackDown swerve, a Teddy Long swerve. Holla, 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 playa. We're going to make this a tag team match.
Hang on, player. Holla, holla, player. Holla.
Let me holla at you. Let me holla at you.
Let me holla at you, player.
So we're going to talk about this and more on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show this week. And we are back with our guest. We have a lot of guests on our show in previous podcast shows. Go on iTunes, subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter at TIA Wrestling. But more importantly, go on iTunes and subscribe to us. And you can listen back to all our interviews. Seth Rollins, Jerry the King Lawler, EC3, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Also, we've had Sasha Banks. We've had Corey Graves, Neville. The list goes on and on with
Kevin Owens.
The list goes on with people we've had on the show. And this week,
Mark Wahlberg.
What?
Oh, never mind. He wasn't on our show.
No. But Steve, this week, we have a special guest.
We do.
And I'll let you introduce him.
We do. We have a very special guest this week. It's a great story. If you know the independent scene of wrestling, you've at least heard of this guy. And maybe you don't know the full story, but it's a fantastic one. It's a inspiring one, certainly. Could be a fun story to share. And it was great to catch him in good spirits. He's got a documentary. You can see it on YouTube right now. It's called Wrestle Donst Wrestle. Tim Donst joins us in this week's show, and we got to sit down with him at AIW this past weekend and kind of catch up, see how he's doing with his health. If you didn't know, Tim earlier this year battled cancer, has fought it valiantly. Right now, it seems to be good to go, in remission. Came back to wrestling after being told he couldn't wrestle anymore, and alas, here he is. So we get to talk about that a little bit with him and make some jokes, too, leading into his match with Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, over the weekend, AIW here in Cleveland always puts on a great, great show. We're going to talk about that as well. But Nick Gage was supposed to be in town to face Hardcore Holly. A lot of people are waiting for that match. 2 guys.
Hardcore Holly's waiting for that match.
Yeah, Hardcore Holly still wants that match.
He still does.
Nick Gage currently not able to come to Cleveland. And if you're listening to this podcast, the fate of Nick Gage could have been determined by now. But he was not able to make it last weekend here in Cleveland. So they had Tim come in. Tim was a surprise opponent for Hardcore Holly. They put on a great match. And Hardcore stuck around, signed some autographs, took some photos with some people. So obviously, Bob Holly, we all know him as Hardcore Holly in the Attitude Era. But Steve loves him as
Sparky Plug.
Yeah, that's brings a little smile to Steve's face.
I want to say this about Mr. Holly, because we meet these guys at wrestling and everything, and at AIW, and it's always cool. And we ended up having a long just chat with him. We didn't sit down, we didn't record, but we had a great conversation with him. And just watching him interact with the other guys, Hardcore Holly is somebody who loves wrestling / sports entertainment.
Nah, I think he likes wrestling.
Well,
more than sports entertainment.
he loves the genre and everything. The in-ring, I guess I should say. The technical side of it and standpoint. For all the reasons when you're a kid and you're growing up and you're like, yeah, maybe you're an athlete. You're like, oh man, I really love football. I want to get into it. This is what I want to do the rest of my life. That's Hardcore Holly.
Yeah,
and he has such an appreciation for it and an enthusiasm for it. And we saw him after his match with Tim and talking to Tim about it, giving pointers. And every time he had an answer for something, even leading up to it, as we were sitting there and listening to them kind of determine spots and stuff.
It's fake.
He had a great explanation of what his answers were to Tim.
Yeah.
And I think here's a guy he's never met. Doesn't have to give him that respect.
Right.
And he did every single time. And I thought that was awesome. And that's why when we were talking with him, I said, man, do you have any thought about opening a school? And he said, nah, I don't want to be tied down to it.
Yeah.
But you think back to that, and I think Hardcore Holly opening a school doesn't benefit as many guys as it does in the manner of which he went out and wrestled Tim Donst, and they talked about it before and after, like we saw him do. And, those are guys who are already in the process of making that climb, if they're not close. And maybe he is way better suited to be a coach to those guys, even if it's just for the few hours.
Yeah. And there's one thing that he talked about with us was, guys want to know A to Z what they're doing in the ring before they go out. It's never about, okay, go on the fly. And, when Larry Zbyszko was on our show on the podcast, you go on iTunes, listen to it, he talks about how this generation of wrestlers, they want to know what they're doing before they get in the ring. And when Holly and Tim were wrestling, it kind of changed because Holly was, barking to the crowd. It almost seemed like Holly came out as a face, but then ended up as a heel because he got in some fans' faces towards the end.
Right.
Kind of, not full blown, but kind of like condescending. And he wanted to kind of, change it up in the ring, on the fly. And nothing against Tim whatsoever. It's just the way it happened. And obviously these two didn't know they're wrestling until they got there, on Friday. So, but that's the way the generation is now, is that everybody wants to know what they're doing right away. And this older generation, like the Hollies and the Larry Zbyszkos, when he wrestled Bruno Sammartino in Shea Stadium, they had to be separated because back then heels and faces, they never mingled with each other. And they called their match in the ring when they went out there and called it that way. So it's a totally different generation of guys, and they seem to kind of, go a little bit faster. And so when you mix younger with older, I think you're absolutely right. When Bob was talking and say, "Oh, we shouldn't do that. We should do this," he just didn't do it in a condescending way that you kind of see other guys do.
Yeah.
He gave a reason why, and he said it in a kind of a teacher, tone.
Yeah.
Explaining why.
And maybe the reason for that difference, as I sit here and think about it, and it would have been great to ask Bob at the time, maybe something that has to do with injury. I don't know. The more you plan the match, you know what's going to be happening. Yeah. You know what you're going to take. And there is, I guess, less room for injury there and accuracy with the spots. Some of these guys doing the high-flying spots, it's good to know that they're going to do it so they can hit it and be accurate with these things. So, but to his point, then all of a sudden, if somebody's not involved in the match, or I'm sorry, if they're so involved with knowing what the next spot is, they're not as involved within the match and the storytelling of the match,
right,
and the little details. I thought one of the most awesome things I heard him talk to Tim about was just the small details that you don't think about when watching. We talk about needing to suspend that belief a little bit, right? And he's talking about doing just a roll-up. And he's like, look, he goes, if you roll a guy up, you need to hold him tight. And then a guy should be just kicking the whole time to make it look like he's trying to get kicked out. But because you've got him rolled up so tight, it's believable that he can't get out because you've got him so tight. He goes, but if you got a guy so tight and he's not kicking at all, and then he waits to kick out, and that right after 3, he's like, everybody knows then.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's such a good point.
Yeah, it's
a
selling,
huge difference.
everything. Yeah, like selling, and when a guy's being held down, you're just kind of just half-assing it.
Yeah.
And he's trying to kick. I mean, obviously this is a guy that's very strong. He should be able to kick out easily.
Right.
Get that little extra effort. Totally agree. And
It's not just about selling the bumps that you take. It's about selling the little nuances like that.
And the one thing about Bob Holly, and I said this point blank to him, is because of Tough Enough and because of Holly is kind of stiff in the ring, and a lot of guys are stiff. JBL is known for being really stiff. Of course, he's also a dick on the outside of the ring. There's plenty of stories. Just ask the Miz. Plenty of stories about JBL being a douche. But when the tape of Tough Enough came out, and Holly was really stiff with I think Matt Capitelli is his name. And that came out. Holly was was like, wow, this guy's a jerk in real life. Like, why is he doing this? But we talked to them for like 15-20 minutes. This guy, he was really nice to everybody, really talkative.
He still seems heartbroken by that moment now.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, I'm not a jerk.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Hates social media because of it.
He hates the internet and guys punching their keyboard. Guys that behind a fake username, or they aren't going to say it to your face. But yeah, I totally agree. But he was a great guy to talk to. And he did promise that he will be on the show when he comes back to face Nick Gage, hopefully.
He plans to come back to you, Cleveland.
So,
of course, that's up to Mr. #GetJohnThorneFamous.
Yeah. Actually, our most popular podcast.
John Thorne, AIW.
Our most popular podcast for this month on iTunes, if you click the popularity button on iTunes, if you're on your MacBook or PC, and popularity, it goes by recent, within a month or two. And number 1... most popular is not our interview with Johnny Gargano, not Sasha Banks, not Seth Rollins, not Kurt Hawkins. It's John Thorne.
The most recent John Thorne one?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Wow, okay.
So it's
There's
getting a lot
Johnny
of
Thorne
plays.
Plays out there.
Yeah, this most recent one. So give him a follow at John Thorne AIW, and also AI Wrestling on Twitter as well. Give him a follow. They have 2 shows coming up a twofer, 2 in one day.
Ooh.
October 3rd.
I had one of those this morning.
Okay. So there's
maybe tomorrow morning. Thank you at Chipotle Tweets.
At AIWrestling.com is the website for AIW. Overall, before we move on, a great show.
That's when you flushed twice.
Yeah, and I know what that means, buddy. Believe me, I know what that means. But a great show. AIW always puts on a great show.
They do. It was a fun show this past weekend. We got to chat and meet up again, catch up with our friend Colt Cabana.
I thought you were going to say someone else. Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't know who we thought I was going to say. But, we got to hang out with him, chat with him a little bit.
Yeah,
Ethan
Colt's
Page,
great.
we got to see him.
Yeah. Talked,
busted his balls a little bit.
Yeah.
He was worried about the Chris Jericho deal still.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that podcast. Definitely.
Also,
listen to our episode with Ethan Page talking about his one run-in with Chris Jericho ever.
informed him about Bone Thugs.
Which he had a terrible
experience with.
We built that up so much.
Oh, my God.
Along with referee Jake Clemens and
yeah, that
terrible time.
That photo he posted on his Twitter is cringeworthy.
I feel so bad.
One
for
guy
him.
said, "I look at the camera, autographing." Other guy, they just seem like they're totally out of it.
Maybe he had them do that.
I mean, it is Canada.
He could have had them.
Sorry, Canada.
He could have been like, "Hey, I need you guys to not look interested."
No, that's his girlfriend.
He would do that.
Or,
His wife.
Wife. Sorry.
Yeah.
His wife is willing to Bones. He would not waste a photo with Bone just to put himself over. No way.
Yes, he would.
His
He's
wife?
all ego.
No.
Oh, his wife wouldn't. She probably took a normal one somewhere else.
That's $40 a photo. No, there's no
With
way.
Bone?
If it was I think it was $40 extra VIP thing.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, it was awful. But yeah,
who else? We got to see Johnny.
yeah,
Johnny was there.
Gargano was there.
An
You know who
excellent fatal 4-way match there
Okay.
too for the championship at the end.
I know we were interviewing. We had Donst and we had Eddie Kingston who would be on next week, but
Oh,
which is-
always great to catch up with Eddie.
yeah,
We okay, so we sit there. Just point this out real quick. Each AIW show, we pretty much sit there and at some point have a 15 to 20-minute conversation with Eddie.
Yeah.
Just having one.
Right.
And you'll always entertain. We finally sat down and then put it on record.
But we sit there and we, guys come to us or we get some other guys, and sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes it does, but we're set up in a locker room kind of where the backstage area is. And I didn't know who this one guy was there, but Chuck Taylor was there. He's going to be signed by NXT. He's having his indie he team with Cabana because Cliff Compton couldn't come.
Oh, yeah.
And Taylor, I shook his hand, said goodbye to him. I didn't even know who he was.
And then he smoked some girl. Oh, no, that wasn't Chuck. Chuck didn't kick a lady in the face.
Oh, that was some other.
That was somebody else. That was
intoxication tag team or something.
I thought that was Chuck's match.
Yeah.
Yes, Chuck Taylor was there.
Yeah, I did not know that until he left. I was like, man, he's gonna be NXT. He's gonna be NXT.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, last Friday for AIW, in the locker room, we talked to our good friend. This is who I thought you were gonna talk about before, Frankie Flynn.
Oh yes.
Frankie Flynn was in that for the Intense title, which was won by Gregory Iron, but we had a nice little chat with him. Everybody
loves Frankie Flynn down there in that locker room.
Try to get him to wear pants. He wasn't buying it.
No, I accepted his reasoning.
He had a mask now.
Has a mask.
And he has
cape, his name on the trunks.
He's moving on up, dude. He even has 8x10s for sale.
He does.
Which I don't think anybody
Everyone
bought.
should run out and buy.
$20 for a photo of Frankie Flynn.
They will be at the table at the next AIW show. Buy yourself a Frankie Flynn.
If I need toilet paper,
8x10.
I'll make sure I
Oh, come on, Glenn. Stop it. And then it's going to smear and you're going to have Frankie Flynn's picture inked on your ass. How about that?
Oh, no, I got a Frankie Flynn in my underwear.
Stop it.
I was, Jingle Toes, who was a great listener of the show. He didn't make it out to AIW. He had to work, but I messaged him. I was like, hey, your boy Frankie Flynn lost, and I showed him the picture of Frankie Flynn, and I gave him the joke of, if I needed toilet paper, I'll.
Jingle Toes texted me. Apparently, now this happened. There was a rumor floating around that CM Punk was at AIW this past weekend.
I didn't see that rumor.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the rumor going around.
Okay. Can we confirm that he was not there?
Because I love John Thorne so much, and I want AIW to be so big, I can't necessarily confirm that, nor can I deny it.
Okay, CM Punk was not there.
I mean, I didn't not see him.
Come on.
He may have just randomly shown up at AIW. I don't know, folks. That's why
no
he had to go to an AIW show.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we're doing that to pump up shows now.
Absolutely.
Come on, we did our share. We've brought.
He could have
AIW.
been there. His friend Colt Cabana was there. I think he's cool with Chuck Taylor.
Come to an AIW show.
Chuck Taylor.
You might see CM Punk, but if he's there, he's not going to let you know. So
it's a secret.
Yeah, it's one.
He just likes to hang out.
No, he would have been backstage. We would.
Does Chuck Taylor wear Chuck Taylors?
I have no clue, but he was there.
That. Yes, he was.
Very upset that I didn't. We could have talked to him. That would have been a great interview.
That's true too.
So AIW overall great show. We talked to off the record Athena, not for a podcast.
Yeah. Super excited for her.
Yeah, with her moving on to bigger and better things.
Cool person.
Can we just say it? I mean, she's going to NXT. I mean, come on, it's already out there. Everybody's reporting it. She's going to be NXT. There. Yeah,
it was WWE already confirmed it.
Yeah, so she's going to be NXT. So she had her last AIW match. She had 2 matches, 2 long matches.
Yeah.
And great match with Candice LeRae.
Fantastic match with Candice LeRae.
Yeah. And then she lost the title to Heidi Lovelace.
That's right.
And Athena had her bows. She said her goodbye. And is moving on to bigger and better things with NXT. She reports end of the month. And she will be down there. And I cannot wait to see her wrestle, Becky Lynch and Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley. All those girls. I can't wait to see her be plugged in with NXT, and then hopefully the main roster soon enough. So good luck to Athena. Good luck to her making the jump to NXT. But great. She's always had great matches with AIW. and chemistry with like Lorraine and
Oh,
Bailey
yeah.
Scott and all the girls that
And
AIW
she's going to be
brings
coming
in.
into a class with a Jasmine, who she was familiar with from AIW.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But speaking of the ladies, make this transition here, of NXT, WWE, announced this week, or maybe it was early last week, or later last week, but either way, at NXT TakeOver will be main evented for the women's NXT title, an Iron Woman match, Sasha Banks and Bayley. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
I would have rather watched that main event Raw than Big Show and Seth Rollins taking on John Cena and Sting last night.
Oh god.
I am more excited for that.
So
And that's a testament to two things: how crappy Raw and the writing is, but mostly how incredible these women are with the matches that they put on. I'm looking forward to
in
that.
NXT,
Yeah,
not on the main roster.
right. The fact, although Sasha and Paige put on
It was
a solid
decent.
show
Yeah, it was
last
decent.
night,
Yeah.
but man, I can't already. I'm just thinking, man, why does that have to be next month? I feel like I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna screw it up somehow.
Calm down, Steve.
That's gonna be such a good match.
Man, Steve's all giddy over here. He's all
I'm
smiling.
pumped. I'm
He's
pumped. That's gonna be a good match.
Set your DVR.
I'm
Well,
not
set
as
your
excited as
whatever network.
like a Brock Lesnar match, just watching him tear somebody apart. But it's gonna be a good show right there.
But I feel like I spoiled your night by telling you that Sasha Banks is a taken woman. She's she's called for.
Well,
Sorry, man. Steve,
still a fan
don't
of the
cry.
boss.
It's fine.
Still a fan of the boss. Sasha
she's
Banks
great.
and Bruce Springsteen. But
All right, let's jump into our interview with Tim Donst, and then we'll come back and recap Raw. We'll preview Night of Champions. We'll wrap up by talking Raw and everything that's going on WWE. But first, our interview with Tim Donst.
back here on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, we are at AIW once again, and we are sitting down now with a guy who has always endeared himself to the AIW fans, huge fan favorite, but on top of that, has overcome a serious amount of adversity within the course of this year, and is here sitting down with us now. We're happy to have him, Tim Donst, everybody.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy year so far.
A little topsy-turvy for you.
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah. Obviously, the biggest thing to happen to you was not necessarily in the ring, but a battle nonetheless with cancer, finding out earlier this year. And if folks haven't seen the documentary, absolutely recommend them to look at a quick little, half-an-hour documentary?
Yeah, it's called Wrestle Donst Wrestle. It's by the great Kenny Johnson, who I think is really underrated in terms of really showing the greatness of independent wrestlers and promotions.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
it's on YouTube. People want to.
Yeah.
And it's
Go on
free,
YouTube.
too.
Yeah.
People
And
like
it's
free
free.
stuff. Yeah.
But along with that story, I mean, I guess give us the quick background of it. I mean, I could tell folks, Glenn and I were here at a show, and we're sitting here watching it, and we knew you were supposed to perform that night. Here you are, AIW champion, an awesome feat for you, something I know you're super proud of, and some of the fans loved seeing happen. And here we're all expecting you to compete that evening, and instead you come out and make the announcement that you, at the time, didn't know or thought that you were retiring from wrestling.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was set to have a pretty big weekend. I was going to defend against Ricky Shane Page for my newly acquired AIW title finally. And then, of course, I was going to debut for CZW the following day. And I guess that the week before, maybe even 6 days before, I was set to wrestle here in AIW. I pissed a bunch of blood. I went to the hospital. They kept trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and then it was determined that they assumed it was a tumor inside my kidney. At first, they thought it was stage 4. Luckily, that wasn't the case, or else I probably wouldn't be talking to this microphone right now. And then, by all accounts, I was supposed to not wrestle again. The urologist, the original surgeon told me there was no way in hell I'd be back in a ring, which broke my heart. I still can't watch that footage of when I give up that title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a very egocentric person, And so belts are a nice, pat on the back for working your ass off. And I started hearing AIW forever ago, and that title meant a lot to me, but it really hit me how much it meant to me when I had to, give it up.
Yeah.
It was, really weird emotionally because here I and again, I'm not a guy that's I need to do this, but here I worked my butt off for this company. Here's my shot to have my run that I thought I deserved, and it was gone like that. And so I was never going to wrestle again, and then the great Mick Foley got in contact with me randomly. I never met him once in my life. Got me in touch with Robert Quarles, a WWE doctor who contradicted my original surgeon, who told me I can wrestle again. And then one kidney less later, I returned at Absolution against one Nick Gage.
Yeah, Mick Foley, obviously well-known, hardcore legend. Obviously you never met him, but we all know who he is. How was that for you, probably a guy you watched growing up, reaching out, helping you, not only but wrestling, but a personal?
Well, it was crazy because it could have been anybody, any wrestler. And several wrestlers did reach out to me, Paul London, Steen, some other guys. But, Foley is the dude I used to watch when I was coming into wrestling. I would try to mimic his promos, his styles. He was a guy that got me to believe wrestling was real, and this guy was so crazy. And so for him personally to reach out to me, that was really surreal and incredible, and I owe him my career by this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's bittersweet, I suppose. It's very surreal, right? I mean, on one hand, you're like, this really sucks. I have cancer. But on the other hand, are you thinking Mick Foley's reaching out to me?
Well, it's mostly shitty by that point in time still, obviously.
Right, obviously. But
but I'll tell you what.
It's just how small the wrestling community is. It's
Sure.
just so... It's so small but so large, and I think it's such a cool story. And then, this guy, like you said, you've never met, and here he is reaching out to you, one of your heroes growing up.
Well, it's pretty insane. When I did meet him face-to-face and thanked him personally, this is when still was kind of up in the air whether or not the cancer had spread or not, whether or not to return to the ring. And he looked me in the eyes, and he just told me I wasn't done wrestling yet. And those same eyes that got me to believe that this guy can survive getting thrown off cells and everything else made me believe. Once he said that to me, I was like, yep, you're right, I'm not done. There'll be another chapter in my crazy wrestling life.
And how are you doing now, health-wise?
Good. Everything seems to be in the clear. I'm still getting tested. Usually, I guess, things don't start to show up at least for another year after the surgery. So that's kind of scary. But other than that, I think I've lucked out so far. I really lucked out that this wrestling community has really reached out to me, fans, made me feel like I wasn't alone with this thing. So it was really surreal.
When you were told that, hey, 100% get back in the ring, you can, that had to be a special moment for you.
Oh, it was insane, man. As soon as I heard that, everything else was easy.
Yeah.
And one of the worst aspects of this, as this is to say, wasn't even necessarily the death aspect, but when he told me I'd never wrestle again, my brain's so attuned to thinking of promos or matches or moves that I want to do. When I was told I'd never wrestle again, my brain couldn't function because I'm so used to thinking about all these ideas all the time.
Yeah.
And so why am I thinking these ideas if I'm never going to have another match again, if I'm never going to have another promo again? So I constantly almost had this severe ADHD where I was watching TV all the time. I was playing video games all the time. I just had to be doing something all the time.
And you came back, Absolution. You go in it head first in a match against Nick Gage, who is known ultra-violent, hardcore guy. I mean, you're not going into just kind of match, hey, feel yourself out. You're going head first with Nick Gage.
Not a cakewalk.
That's not a cakewalk at all.
Yeah, I kind of figured, if you're going to go back out there, might as well go back into the fire.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was pleasantly surprised that I wrestled Nick Gage, but I think everyone left pretty happy, hopefully.
And we've seen streamers being used, throughout, not only here at AIW, but around other promotions. I have never seen the amount of streamers when you came out and you're in the corner on the ropes. You covered. It was like you're swimming in a pool of streamers. I can't probably even describe the emotion you were feeling.
Thanks. It's really surreal. For two reasons. One, I was getting ready for the fight of my life.
Yeah.
So emotionally being so overwhelmed made me almost tear up and cry.
Yeah.
And here I'm about to go through thumbtacks and tables and chairs. So emotionally, I'm a wreck at this point in time. But my mother and stepfather went to the show, and something I was explaining to them is the thing that makes wrestling so great is no one tells the fans what to do, right? Like when
Right.
you go to a sitcom, a live studio taping, this is when you laugh, this is when you boo, this is when you, ooh, Kelly Kapowski's on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So wrestling, like no one told the fans to do that. So that's just kind-hearted people wanted to show hopefully respect and happiness for my happiness. And it was really great and awesome.
I love that Kelly Kapowski was your reference.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, of
I
course.
just watched the No Hope with Dope episode. I don't know if you remember that.
No
with Johnny
Hope with
Dakota.
Dope?
Yeah, he was like the
Oh.
actor who was like smoking marijuana.
Oh yes,
Yeah, and
yes.
so, like-
she thinks she wants to date
yeah,
him.
it
Takes
was really
her out.
it was really awesome because he wasn't gonna do the corny PSA on not doing drugs
right.
until Kelly Kapowski walked in, and then so he drew a sketch of what she would do in this commercial, and he's like, you know, this kind of looks like you, except, and he looks at her and he goes, you got a little bit more curves. And I was like, ooh.
What was the slogan? Just say no to dope. Or
No
something?
hope with dope.
No
I
hope
hope
with dope. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I love that show. Zack
amazing.
Attack. I used to come out to Zack Attack for Epic War in California.
Yeah?
Friends Forever. Yeah, that's right.
And you are an amateur
That's
wrestling
forever.
background.
Yes.
You used to come out with the.
That's a nice segue you just did.
I'm thinking EC Slater. I mean, I'm thinking
AC
Slater.
Slater.
Well,
Yeah.
AC was awesome because he would do every sport somehow.
Yeah.
Like
Even
I
if
don't
they
know.
were
I
the
don't know
same
how what
season?
school. Yeah, you know, like
Yeah.
basketball, like the shooting range, and like wrestling and swimming were all in the same season at
Oh,
my
yeah.
school. But somehow he was like the captain of all this thing.
His letter jacket must have been just a long
Insane.
list.
It was,
And I don't know if he got a scholarship in college years. I can't remember.
Yeah.
you know, it's I don't know. It's tough to
He's like
see.
the Al Bundy, just high
yeah,
school.
we'll have to call Mike Golick. He lives around here. Bob Golick, whichever one was on that show. Bob.
So when person thinks of you now, I mean, as a guy that beat cancer, are you okay with that, or do you want more goers? Hey, I'm good in the ring. People know that anyway, but
Sure.
people probably don't know. Hey, that's that guy that beat cancer, right? The wrestler that beat cancer. Are you cool with that?
It's a really interesting question. Yes and no. No in the aspect where I don't want something to define my career
Right.
just yet. I'm just 27, so I don't want anything to define my career at this
Right.
point in time in my life. Also, I would hope that people enjoy my work enough where they wouldn't have to factor that into my match quality or promos or anything else. On the other hand, ever since Wrestle came out, I've been overwhelmed by how many messages I'm getting from people just telling them that this movie made them, inspire them to lose weight, inspire them
Yeah.
to go back to college. Some people, one person's aunt was going through cancer currently, and so they had showed them to their aunt, and it changed, her positivity around. So if that's the aspect, then I'm completely fine with being known as the dude that beat cancer. So.
And you're here, AIW. This is not going to be released before you have a match with the surprise with going against Hardcore Holly.
That's right.
Bob Holly. So obviously Nick Gage is supposed to come here and wrestle. He's not going to be here for various reasons. So you get to wrestle Hardcore Holly.
I do.
How it has to be damn freaking cool because
It's pretty wild.
we all
man.
watched him growing up as Hardcore Holly, Sparkplug.
Well, and I think everyone knows how good he is.
Yeah.
Everyone respects him. I'm not just saying this because he's right over there. I'm afraid he's gonna beat the shit out of me.
He's doing push-ups right now. Right?
I know. I can't even do half that number. But no, it's really cool. I think it's a nice test to see exactly where I stand in this wrestling world. And if there's one guy who can give me the seal of approval, certainly it's Hardcore Holly.
Yeah.
Do you obviously you think you're not going to wrestle at one point, and then everything comes back in here. In your mind, you start kind of game planning. Okay, great. My career's back on. Here's what I've got my sights set on. Here's where I want to go by this point. This is what I want to do. This level, do this, do this, do this. Is that starting to kind of framework into your mind right now?
It started immediately. As soon as I found out I could wrestle again, I did. Real quick, the footage of me and Wrestle in the hospital is all legit hospital
Right.
footage. And the reason, and people don't really think, like, wait, why the hell was he filming this? Like, while, because at that point in time, I wasn't wrestling again.
Yeah.
And so my mind was so warped that at the time, I was such in denial that I would wrestle again, that I had my ex-girlfriend at the time film me in the hospital just in case somehow I came back, just in case they made a documentary about me this return.
Right.
Like, that's how, like, warped my mind was, as I knew I wouldn't be over.
You're like, I'm a great story.
Yeah.
But, I guess it's a weird coping mechanism, I suppose.
Sure. So where do you think now from here? Where do you want to go? It's back on, I guess not necessarily back on track because you still have some setbacks from that. You got to get back into just, I guess, the wrestling shape and going back and forth. But do you have like your steps set out? This is what I want to do next. Here we go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that.
A little bit. I want to wrestle as much as possible everywhere. I've been pretty lucky so far. I think like this year, even regardless of me being out for like 5 months, I'm about to wrestle the most amount of matches and the most amount of opponents than I ever did any full year, which is pretty intense.
Yeah.
So almost every week I'm wrestling 3 to 4 times, which is cool.
Is there more traveling you want to do overseas, Japan? I mean,
Yeah,
you know, a lot of
I
guys
did a
love
little
all
bit of
this stuff.
Japan before.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just want to challenge. I love to do Europe. I haven't been there yet. But things are going well here in AIW, CZW. So obviously I'd like to stay there and then reach out to some other places, hopefully.
Wired champion for CCW.
That's true.
Yeah, and a 2-time AIW champion.
That's right.
So there you go.
Are you reading my Wikipedia page back there? Is that
It is
what's going on?
for reference.
Yeah.
But I knew that before.
Yeah. If you can
It's all
add
good.
hardcore champion somewhere
Yeah.
real quick.
There you go. Tim, really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you guys
You're
for
always here
having
at AIW. Love to have you on in the future as well. Talk more
Yeah,
with you.
let's do it.
And just good luck along with your career, but also health-wise, and stay healthy, man.
Also tonight as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
it's definitely tonight. You already walked by. You're good.
Yeah, you're good. Thanks, Tim. Welcome back. Great interview with Tim Donst here on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. An AIW staple, a 2-time AIW champion, and the current CZW Wired Championship belt man guy. That
Yeah,
wears the
there
belt.
you go. Good job.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, again, just a great story, great interview
Yeah.
overall. We obviously we were hoping for the best for Tim then. We wish him the best now. So cool that Mick Foley ends up being the guy to help him out. And again, even like when I said in the interview, even though at first I didn't ask it right, but I just think it's so nice and so neat to understand how large that the wrestling community is, but then so small. The fact that somebody like Mick Foley would just reach out and be willing to help Tim. And, you know, of all the people that we've met through wrestling, there's a good dude right there. So, yeah, why wouldn't someone want to help a guy like that? But so glad they did. So glad we get to see this guy wrestle again, and more and more into the future. So, but yeah, Tim again was there this past week at AIW, filling in because Hardcore Holly was originally supposed to wrestle and take on Nick Gage. Nick Gage could not make it. He was not there. Thank goodness we got one interview with him. Who knows if we'll get one again here in the next few years.
Hey, by the time people listen to this, he could be already out again.
It could be.
Or he could be sitting there, and we'll be begging you to write him.
Who knows? You know, but Tim Donst filled in for him in that match, and hopefully this doesn't get to Nick too much. It might get too intense if he hears us talking about him. I'm a little nervous about
Nick?
Oh, what is that? I hear silence, Glenn.
No, not looking for Nick Gage.
They're not looking. Is Nick loose?
No.
Is Nick coming back? I should have said, is he loose? Because he's a good guy. Actually, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Is he here? Nobody's looking for him? What is... Oh. It must be time to call Big Papa Pump. Big Bad Booty Daddy. Do you think he'll answer? Can't wait to ask him. I like that you have his picture next to him. His name. Like he sent you that picture. Like you guys are best friends. Oh, no Scott Steiner again, kids.
One of these days, he will, though. He will. When we least expect it.
Should we just text him and be like, hey, can we talk to you?
We have texted him.
We have?
Yeah, I texted him before, like, hey, call back ASAP.
The fact that we left him 2 voicemails
Your
from
mom's
various
dying.
people.
Your mom's dying. Call us.
Don't do that. Oh.
No, that's not funny.
We should have had Hardcore Holly call him.
Who wouldn't know? I'm sure he doesn't have Steiner's number. Holly?
No, from our phone.
He wouldn't know.
We should have had Eddie Kingston leave him a voicemail.
Oh, yeah. Every person we have on the show should leave a voicemail for Scott Steiner. Kingston wouldn't give a fuck anyway.
That'd be great.
Speaking of Kingston, he will be our guest on next week. We're not going to spoil it. We're not going to tell you what happens, but
It's a good time.
It's going to be a great one of our best interview portions of our show. That's not a WWE talent.
Yeah, that goes up there with the Ethan Page one, and just sheer fun.
Just indie guys shooting the shit with us. All right, from indies to the main product out there for professional wrestling, WWE Raw. I mean, we talked about this at the Open, but I was excited to see Sting in a Raw ring. I was like, okay, but they spoiled it. Not spoiled it, but they ruined it. They should have built this up for a few weeks. They should have pimped this out. To get the
that was a
ratings
quick
up.
thing. They should have just mentioned it last week. Even would have been fine.
The thing is, these segments aren't even written, until the day of the show. They don't know what they're doing. So that's what happens. When you're writing late, you can't do any more surprises or anything. And it hurts because I want to see, it would have been awesome. They announced it like 3 weeks ago. Then this night on Raw, this was a better rating than last week. It was a better rating, but not by much. But it could have been a lot higher if you would have, pimped it out.
Why not last week when he's messing with Seth's statue or something? Triple H just getting angry. It's Sting, next week on Raw.
Not Triple H, because it seems like Triple H is fine with everything.
Yeah, I don't know. Not last night. Remember Seth Rollins. How about Seth Rollins tapping out?
Yeah.
To the Scorpion Deathlock.
To a crappy Scorpion Deathlock. That was
tapping out immediately. Now,
did you hear Michael Cole? He didn't know if he could say the word death. He was like, the Scorpion. What about Deathlock? It was almost like he didn't want to say death because that could be one of the bad words that Vince doesn't want them saying.
They call the Undertaker the dead man.
Yeah, but I mean Deathlock. Deathlock is kind of. But like I didn't. It was really funny, but he did say Deathlock. But it was a very crappy. Sting needs to work on his
Triple
Deathlock.
H and Stephanie holding him up, putting his titles. Triple H and Stephanie humorous last night, I will say. Holding Seth Rollins up at the end, and then of course leading off Monday Night Raw with a little dance. Dance off with the New Day. That was good.
Triple H has gone full blown Vince McMahon with that with those dance moves.
He's total dad right now. He is in major dad mode.
That was a great moment. Not only because it was Triple H and Stephanie, but for the New Day, because when you have Triple H, who is known for not really putting other guys over and bearing the shovel when he needs to, he dancing. Putting himself out there to dance like a fool and with
high
New
five
Day,
in the New Day.
I mean, that's incredible for New Day, and this is coming from, and we talked about it on the show before WrestleMania, how this staple was not getting over. It was boring. Why are three talented guys together? It was just stale. And then after that photo I took with them at WrestleMania, they have just taken off.
And I know we've said this every show. I feel like for the last however many months.
Taking credit, man. I got the magic touch. Taking credit.
Well, I think we always knew that these three guys were good.
Absolutely.
They weren't doing it right. They weren't letting them be them.
Right.
And now they are.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing going.
And I know Steve didn't watch the Table for Three. I did. It was amazing after Raw and the WWE Network. They talked about, what was working before and what was not working, and they even chuckled at the rumors of them being the new Nation of Domination, which, fans of the Attitude Era, they were a serious faction. And while I think they could be, they are a great faction together, they are not the serious type. They are the funny, being themselves, but still being bad guys faction. And they have worked perfectly, letting them do what they want. And they talked about that on the Table for Three, how any ideas they asked the creative team or Vince or Triple H, it was being turned down. We want you to be this way. We want you to be the preachers,
Yeah.
And once they started realizing that what they wanted to do and was starting to get over, they're allowed to go.
An element of that.
Yeah, but they're allowed to do whatever they want now. They're allowed any ideas they pitch, it's going through. The trombone idea, other ideas that
the trombone idea is fantastic.
But they're allowed to do what they want now, which is great because Xavier Woods is a genius. I mean,
yeah,
he literally he's a genius, and Big E is for a big guy and for a guy that started with like Dolph Ziggler and AJ, didn't say a word. He was a serious, cross his arms, look serious guy. And then Kofi, we all know him as the Jamaican mom, the fan favorite, the guy that can fly. And do all these special moves.
We get to see more Kofi personality now.
And now you hear people, little kids are booing Kofi. That never happened before. Kofi was always a good guy. So you have the little kids booing Kofi, and it's great And Kobe talks about that last night. He talks about how it was different for them to have little kids boo him. It was kind of hard at first because he wasn't used to it. He was used to being the good guy, but it was a great interview. They've been gold on Raw. They've made Raw watchable. And before, I never watched like the WB exclusive on the YouTube channel or on the app. And now I'm waiting for them to come out the next day or that night. I want to see what they've done backstage too. It's just gold. It's great.
And the other storyline that we've been developing as we go into Night of Champions this week is the Wyatt family, now at 3 members.
I thought it was Hell in the Cell.
Yeah.
No, Night of Champions. You're right.
Sorry, Mike. The Wyatt family adding their third member, not Eric Rowan, or Eric Rowan, I should say. And then Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and needing a third partner. And one of the things I brought up is these guys being in the Raw Fallout, talking to JoJo, having what is quite an amusing and fun interview, talking about who their third partner is going to be. And it goes from the Great Khali to somehow being Savio Vega.
Los Boricuas.
And then just talking about how nice JoJo is for just pleasantly asking. And then, both going back and forth. And then finally the interview ending, it's going to be Savio Vega. And if he's not available, we'll have Great Khali.
Who is the third man going to be?
I don't know. But even before we get to that, my point is that's the substance that these promos should be made of. We just talked about the New Day being allowed to be themselves. Let these guys be themselves. Because, oh, by the way, that's what made you successful during the Attitude Era. Guys don't have to, curse and necessarily throw out sexual innuendos and things like that, but they could still be silly and goofy and just have personality.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what Dean Ambrose's personality is supposed to be.
Well, Ambrose has done a great job of doing that when he's had a chance, but I think that you can't overexpose characters. It can come in doses. The New Day is the exception because you constantly have to come up with new stuff, and they have. I don't think a guy
every day is a new day.
Yeah. Where are you? What's that song? POD. Every day. Every day is a new day.
Oh.
I'm thankful for every breath.
I was thinking more Show Crow. Every day's a winding road.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That's the difference between me and you. I go like the hard metal, and you go every day.
Oh, I go for the cheesy corny stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, that was Glenn singing just there, not me, actually.
Hey, I got some. We got some. The lost tapes of This Is Awesome Wrestling Show.
Some Cheryl. You just threw some Cheryl Crow out there.
Of Steve Guy trying to do what karaoke.
Or what song it was.
Do you want to be my girl?
Oh, Jet.
Go! What? Just I didn't know it was karaoke. Turn the screen this way. Turn the screen this way.
Go! I'll splice it in.
Oh, you still play it? Still playing it?
I will splice it in.
Anyway,
No,
who is going to be that third partner?
Yeah, Baron Corbin, maybe?
You think it's going to be somebody coming up from NXT?
If it is, Samoa Joe.
I would love it for it.
That
I
would
would
be
love
cool.
for it to be Samoa Joe.
Is he in a feud? Is he like he's not like in a big feud right now, is he?
No, not really.
So what if it is Samoa Joe? This would be a perfect time for Samoa Joe to come up.
That'd be great. They keep talking about monsters. Keep saying the word monster.
Samoa Joe is a monster.
Which makes me think that
Kane.
The masked Kane will come back.
What if it's corporate Kane?
I don't. That makes no sense. None of it really makes any sense.
Come on, we're talking about WWE creative here, buddy.
I do like the idea of the Wyatts just taking out anybody who might even have a chance of being their partner.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's good. That's how you get heat. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking to this guy? Could have just been hello. Doesn't matter. We're going to beat his ass right now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Even like the Miz too. They threatened when he threatened Mike.
Yeah.
Mike was like, "I am not the third man. I am." Who is the third? Is it going to be Hulk Hogan? Is it going to be Hogan?
Probably. I think you can bet that it's not going to be him.
Is it going to be Hogan?
Could it be The Rock? Family member to Roman Reigns.
That would be great. But I don't think it's The Rock.
Could it be Brock Lesnar for no reason at all?
No.
Could it be Rhino coming up from NXT?
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be the one-man band, baby!
What a great tweet that was. Because Heath
Huh?
That'd be sweet making Heath Slater. Or will it be, for his third match of the night,
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
You just want the Shield to be back together. That's all you care about.
Or will it be? Here comes the money. No? You don't think Shane Mack would team up with them to take on the Wyatt family?
No, there's no reason to.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
There's no reason for anybody to team up with them at this point, Glenn.
I mean, Randy Orton.
Well, now because he got his ass beat.
Yeah.
Or an Uso, or could be the return of the other Uso, Jay.
That would be even worse. I don't want to see the Usos.
Or it could be Stephen Amell.
Oh no.
That's all I got. I ran out of people
There's
that it could
really
be.
nobody really.
It's probably gonna be the Big Show.
The Big Show.
Yes.
He's a face. He's a good guy again.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, if I had to put money on this, I would say Samoa Joe.
What about Cesaro?
Cesaro. That's interesting too.
He's not involved in anything right now,
That's
right?
yeah.
Because we're gonna have Owens and Ryback.
Yeah. Could be Cesaro. That would be, but that would be. It wouldn't be like, oh my God. It would be like, okay.
You're like, all right, this is gonna be good.
Well, no, I mean,
Like,
not a
like his
surprise
spots are
element.
gonna be good, right? Yeah. Just, I mean, like from a match standpoint, like, okay,
Yeah.
the wrestling will be all right in this.
Yeah, but but if you keep
Who
on
do you-
pumping this up, it has to be a surprise, dude. So Cesaro would be like, okay, cool, but like, it wouldn't be like, oh, great, like it wouldn't be.
I mean, nobody's really feuding with the Wyatts right now.
It's
I'm
the
trying to
Undertaker.
think back.
It's Taker.
Who did the Wyatts take anybody out? Like take them out,
It's a Brooklyn Brawler.
where they would be injured right now? I don't remember how far back we'd have to go for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Their previous feuds were Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, The Undertaker.
Dude, Samoa Joe. I'm going Samoa Joe.
Because that's what we did. You went from Ambrose to Reigns to The Undertaker.
Oh, it's Taker. Taker. Never know. Like I said, I'm going Samoa Joe. Your final answer?
I don't. For some reason, I just think it's gonna be Kane.
Mask Kane
Mask
or
Kane.
Corporate Kane?
Masked Kane.
I would like that over Samoa Joe, but I'm being real and I'm going Samoa Joe, which would be I would definitely mark out.
I would
for
actually
that.
be more pumped if it was Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I would mark out for Samoa Joe definitely. Mask Kane, I would definitely be excited. Anybody else, I'll be like, unless it's like,
Heidenreich.
DDP or somebody. Heidenreich. Oh no. Heidenreich.
He's just so big.
God, it's so awful.
What
Vader. What if it's Vader?
It's Bautista.
Bautista. No.
All right.
What if it's Vader? That'd be awesome.
He's
if it's
big.
Vader.
No, it wouldn't
It's
be
time.
awesome if it was Vader.
It's time. You still got it.
Oh, it would drive me crazy.
Oh, got it.
No. I would hope that
This is
Braun
awesome.
Strowman just makes him pass out.
This is awesome. He's a mastodon. He's a monster.
Yeah.
He was part of the monsters.
Mastodons
of
are
Doom.
extinct. Just so you know.
Oh, that was terrific. All right. Anything else did we hit on?
Ryback Kevin Owens for the IC title. I think that's fun-ish, but, are they going to let Owens win it? That's what this needs to... Owens can't keep going for titles and losing.
You know what I want? I want more Elvis karaoke by Ryback.
Never let him sing again.
He's all shook up. Is that what he's...
And again, listen, to your point earlier, Ryback has improved on the mic, but you can't have Ryback cutting promos against Kevin Owens and being like, okay, we have to let Ryback get the best of Kevin Owens on the mic. No, that's not going to happen.
The big guy.
Stop making us think that that's going to happen.
I love the big... What if Kevin Owens coming out with what book is The Secret?
The Secret.
The Secret.
Just
have you read
trashing
that?
it.
Have you read that before?
I've not read it.
What is it about? Is it like a self-help book?
Essentially. Basically, The Secret is that you think positively, and if you're like, this is what I want out of life, and you just keep thinking, I can achieve it, you will ultimately achieve it, and that's what that is.
Okay.
And that's why Kevin Owens is like, no, just do
it.
this book,
He
you weakness.
He tries to throw the ring twice, couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
And he throws,
he
the
throws it
cover.
at Ryback's
Yeah,
face.
That was good.
And Ryback's like,
The big guy.
yeah, do to my face, the big guy.
He should have ate it. That would have been great because he eats everything. He should have ate the cover.
The big guy ate it.
Now that would have been great.
But he likes the book, so he wouldn't ruin
It was only the cover.
Yeah, well, it's
It
fine.
was the cover, the jacket of it. Charlotte going to take the title away. Now that Nikki Bella is the longest reigning Divas Championship in history, of the WWE. Will Charlotte finally win and have her reign now?
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I do hope so.
I do like the ending. I do like the ending of that match when, everybody thought, people who didn't see them do the switcheroo, the Bella Magic, Twin Magic, whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of a cool, have Flair running down the ring and they're all celebrating it was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, then Charlotte started crying.
It's like you got to have the celebration, but then like it wasn't real.
Yeah. And it started crying.
But if
then,
Stephanie was really against that revolution, she would be like, restart the match with the correct Bella in there.
yeah, like The Rock did with Vince McMahon when CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, the women just
Who's
like
CM
that.
Punk's a third partner.
CM Punk. Okay. That would be freaking cool.
That would be
But that is
amazing.
definitely not happening.
No, but how sweet would that be?
Yeah. It's Coca Cabana. What the Coca Cabana's the
That's
third guy.
not gonna happen, unfortunately.
It's Coca Cabana. Yeah. So
And why weren't the Young Bucks in this NXT tag team thing?
that would have been great.
That would have been sweet, even for one night only.
Yeah, the price is too high.
Super kick
They're
party.
making the big bucks, man.
They would have done it.
They are making the
They would have
merch.
done it though.
Not one night only.
2 nights, like Johnny's deal.
Yeah.
At least 2 shows of airtime.
Anything else, man? I think
That's
that's
it. Night of
Good show.
Champions coming up. Let us know who you think is going to win.
Yeah.
Any of the
us.
matches. We still don't understand why poor Adrian Neville has to team up with the Lucha Dragon. Although I love the Lucha Dragons, maybe it's because they're all high flyers, I guess.
Ugh.
But enjoying Stardust luring the Ascension into his realm, I guess, so to speak.
The cosmic wasteland. I love it.
Yeah.
But they're going to be pre-show, so whatever. Nobody
Yeah,
cares.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know who you think is going to win.
Oh.
Who do you think is going to be the third partner?
Dudley's. Are they going to take the title for the 10th
yeah,
time?
that'll be exciting.
Dudley's
Dudley Boys
versus New
in the
Day.
New Day.
That's going to be a hell
That's
of a
going to be
match.
fantastic.
Is it
Get
the
the
tables.
tables.
Are they going to break a table?
Absolutely, they will.
Who's going to win?
You gotta have the Dudleys win, right?
I think so. I think you can still have New Day win, and Dudleys are, can still be the Dudleys. If you take away the titles from New Day, I think it kind of takes off the shine, from them a little bit. They're still very, obviously way over, but
You can have the New Day cheat to win. The Dudleys put them through tables at the end.
Yeah,
because
you
they
can do
got
that.
screwed over.
Definitely.
Sure.
Or I can even see maybe like, an old Eddie Guerrero where, when Eddie would bring a belt in and hit and then, fall in the ring holding the belt, and then referee would turn around and DQ the other guy. Maybe they, they set up a table and they break it and they have like Xavier Woods, like, or whoever,
Sure.
Kofi in it and they DQ, false DQ.
Somebody pretends to get hit with a
Yeah.
trombone.
Yeah. Referees have been like kind of involved with some, other storylines being, with the whole Undertaker,
They have.
so, yeah. It's
I think
interesting.
a good closing point to this, non-WWE related, speaking of referees, congratulations to one of the favorited referees of all time. Most favorite? I don't know
Favorited?
I don't know how you would say that.
We're making new words here. This is
Yep.
Awesome Wrestling Show.
Yep, we are. But Earl Hebner being
good
inducted
old
into the
Earl.
TNA Hall of Fame, a guy, as we said, should probably be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I just don't know where he fits in that because there is no thing. That's why I said maybe he. That's what the Warrior was talking about. I think when he said with the Warrior Award, what it should be is guys like that. But maybe you're right. There needs to be a precedent set and letting officials into the WWE Hall of Fame as well. And you hope that that's a guy that could maybe do it.
Back when TNA came here to Cleveland, 5-6 years ago, Earl Hebner had his own shirt. A referee had his own shirt. And it said, it was a white T-shirt that had referee stripes on it. And it said on the front, "Damn right I did." Which was insinuating that he screwed Bret Hart. And it said Hefner on the back. So I did buy that, and he did sign it for me. So I have that in the old vault. But yeah, so Hefner definitely deserves to be in WWE Hall of Fame when he has a chance.
I will never forget him, and he's been a huge part of the success in TNA
Oh yeah,
too.
definitely, yeah.
I will never forget as a teenager going to WWE Monday Night Raws, and Earl Hebner turning around and telling unruly fans to suck it, and doing doing the action.
Yeah. Earl doesn't take no prisoners.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy. I always remember when you think about a referee pulling somebody apart and pointing to the shirt.
Yeah, and
it's
pushing
always
back at Triple H.
Pushing
Yeah.
back. Always
Yeah.
Earl Hebner right there.
Yeah. Great.
So
yeah.
good for him. It's great to see him recognized because it's not always the referee really is, especially in these larger promotions, really is a huge integral part of the show.
Yeah.
And Earl Hebner always has been. And to when you think about referees, it's you don't get to name. And you can watch wrestling all the time, and certainly you can learn their names. But that's one of the guys where you first learned a referee's name, and he sticks out. And that's when you talk about referees, immediately like that's the guy that comes to mind.
Him and Kyoto are two guys that you definitely.
Yeah.
And obviously Nick Patrick we brought up in Little Nate.
Senior official Nick
Yeah.
Patrick.
Senior official. I liked when I didn't like it, but it was awful when they had WCW referees versus WWE referees.
Yeah.
And the evasion angle, that was just terrible. Tim White, remember Tim White? Good old big
I
referee.
remember Tim White.
A lot of WCW referees were good too.
There was the Tim White suicide angle.
Yeah, which is awful.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts after that?
That's it. Let us know. Tweet at us at the Steve Guy, at Glenmore CLE, most importantly at TIA Wrestling, and let us know who you think the third partner will be for Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Will Seth Rollins go 2 for 2 this weekend? Will he go 1 for 2? Let us know your thoughts there with John Cena and Sting. And that's about it. # get John Thorne famous.
We will talk to you guys next week. Eddie Kingston will be our guest on the show. Looking forward to presenting you our interview with him. Go back on iTunes, listen to all our other past interviews with Sasha, Kevin Owens, Jerry the King Lawler, EC3 3 times, and former WWE stars, and Kurt Hawkins was on the show. We had a ton of different interviews for you here at Cocabana.
ECW original Lil Guido.
Yeah, Johnny Gargano. So we look forward to presenting you with more in the coming weeks. We might get Frankie Flynn on.
Yeah.
We might.
Woo!
We'll see how that goes. But shout out to everybody who listens to the show that comes out to us when we go to AIW. Had a couple of people come out and tell us they listen to the show. They like the show. So thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. If you see us at AIW, don't be shy. Come on up. We haven't seen Steve's crush. So if you're listening, come on out. And
we start wearing T-shirts that say yes. We are the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show.
That should be our first T-shirt. If you have any of the T-shirt designs, shoot them our way. Let us know if you have any designs, ideas, because we're gonna put some merch out there for you guys. Maybe John will let us have a table. Never know.
There you go.
Awesome.
Get the tables.
This is awesome.
That doesn't go as well.
Okay. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. CLEsound.com. See ya.